Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a slasher film from 1981 directed by Joseph Zito, who directed Friday the 13th Part 4, which is probably one of my favorite films in the Friday the 13th series. And that movie is The Prowler. Now, just the title and the DVD cover of this film when I saw it on Netflix years ago made me want to see this movie. It just looked cool. I mean, I was like, oh, this guy looks so cool, like, he's gonna kill people, it's gonna be cool. And I was so excited. And I rented it, I didn't watch it, like I did with a lot of films I rented from Netflix, for some reason, I don't know why, but I finally watched it, and, the basic plot of the film is that a man in a World War II fatigues outfit, I guess that's what it's called, stalks a small New Jersey town, planning on reliving a 35-year-old murder that had something to do with a group of teens going to a dance. Now this sounds strangely familiar, doesn't it? People going to a dance, murders happening because the dance is happening again years later. The movie's from 1981. My Bloody Valentine. It reminded me of My Bloody Valentine as soon as I read the plot. But the film begins with some stock wartime kind of propaganda, buy war bonds kind of footage. Then a guy getting sent a Dear John kind of letter with his girlfriend breaking up to him. And her name is Rosemary, and she leaves him for some spoiled rich kid, and she goes to the spring dance with him instead of the guy that she was with. And but soon Rosemary and Rich Boy make a mistake by walking out in the dark alone. They're then both murdered with a pitchfork, which I must say is something that I rarely see in horror films. I've maybe seen that 3 times. Maybe 4. But, so, then the film skips to 1980, where they're about to have another dance 30 years after. Well, no, like, actually, it might have been like 45 years after the previous dance. So the police aren't worried, they just expect some drunk, horny teens, which, I mean, that's what you should expect. And the police, the sheriff is leaving town for the night, so he's leaving the only other, officer that apparently in the sheriff's office, his like the only deputy or anything, and he's leaving him in charge. Bad idea. So then we soon meet the characters that we have to deal with, and we have to deal with them drama-wise, picking out dresses, just, arguing, whatnot. And it's not super entertaining, but it's not really boring. I mean, with it switching between the killer preparing for the night and the girls preparing for the night, it's kind of a cool little switch, like a cross between. So, surprisingly, at 20 minutes, there is no nudity in the film. Now, that's weird for a horror film, especially a slasher film, and especially a slasher film from the 1980s. Then we get a very familiar view of the killer kind of feel, like in like almost every slasher film has done ever since Halloween did it. And then we finally get a little bit of tit at 22 minutes, and then nothing else for like the rest of the film. Then finally, another murder, much like the previous one, it is bloody. And finally, a scene that is reminiscent of the classic the classic scene in Psycho, except it's done with a pitchfork. Again, another great kill. Then we finally get to the dance, and we get more character interaction. Then a girl decides to walk home alone at night in the dark when a murderer killed 2 people in her bathroom. Being the usual horror film idiot, she runs upstairs as the slow-moving killer chases her, and this guy is very slow, like as slow as Michael Myers. But she gets away and runs into the deputy, and he goes out to see who's in the darkness alone. Bad idea again. The deputy and the girl head to the house across the street to investigate, because there's something weird going on, and they find all the I think they find like one of the doors unlocked and all the lights are off. And at this point, you're about halfway through the film, and the death toll is at 4 people, and that's about like 10. That's like about 1 person every 10 minutes, which I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty decent trade-off. So they continue to search for the old man who lives there, and soon we learn something. We learn the old man is, yeah. He's not the murderer. I'm gonna tell you that much, he's not the murderer. But we learn something about him that's kind of interesting. So anyway, then back to the dance where teens are throwing up while the band plays a song about wanting to make a girl bleed while everybody watches, which is kind of fitting for this film. A curfew is set up because of a Prowler on the loose. And the people make the announcement right after a few people happen to leave the dance. Yeah. So one girl, she goes for a midnight dip in the pool, looking for some nautical nonsense, and instead she gets a boot to the face and a knife to the throat. Then more partygoers go out for a stroll at night, in the dark, when there's a prowler on the loose. And more murder. And this goes on for about 10, maybe 15 minutes before we get back to the 2 main characters, the deputy and the main girl. Again, I didn't bother to learn names. Who are searching a cemetery after getting complaints of teens messing around in the cemetery. And they find a dug-up grave, and I'm going to stop with the explanation of the basic rundown of the film right here, because after that, it's like the last 20 minutes of the film, and the last 20 minutes, I'd have to say, is the best 20 minutes of the film. And I figured I would enjoy this film because for some reason, when it comes to horror films, especially horror films from 1981, I almost always enjoy them. Evil Dead, Friday the 13th Part 2, Halloween 2, The Burning, My Bloody Valentine, Bloody Birthday, Funhouse, Happy Birthday to Me, House by the Cemetery, etc., etc. I always seem to enjoy them. I can't say I loved this film, but I can say it was good. The acting and writing are pretty decent. The effects are on the level of My Bloody Valentine. And, while on the subject of, effects, on the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like the Corpse Grinders, and 10 being something like Brain Dead, this film is at least a 7. I mean, it's very bloody, not extremely gory, similar to some of Herschel Gordon Lewis's early films. There's a very, very gory shotgun blast to the head towards the end of the film, which I didn't see coming, and honestly, it was pretty damn gory. It reminded me it reminded me of Scanners, which I haven't seen. Yeah. Honestly, I can't give this movie much acclaim, although I can say if you're looking for a good slasher film to watch, this is definitely one you should check out. It's available on YouTube. You can watch the full movie. That's where I watched it. And I mean, it's definitely worth at least a watch. It's a good little flick. 3.5 stars out of 5. That's what I'm gonna give. Anyway, guys, I'm Biscuit Boo 69 signing off. Peace.